Dude, that was... Okay, hear me out, because that's how this deck should function. Like, that's the goal of the deck. What's going on, guys? If you want to support our content and pick up this month's amazing Patreon rewards, you can do so at patreon.com/itresolves. If you're interested in custom playmats and sleeves, visit YourPlaymat.com and use code ITRESOLVES10YP for 10% off your entire purchase. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another standard gameplay video. Guys, we are absolutely falling in love with this new set, and as such, we had to kind of take a look back at some of the decks that, you know, we've seen already kind of do their thing, but maybe we've got a little bit of an extra edge now. And so with that, I'm looking at Mono White Exile because we've gotten a couple of cards here that I think could really put this deck over the top. Now, let me be very clear before we talk about this deck. This is just my own interpretation. This is not a perfect strategy by any means, or even a perfect deck list for this. This is just some ideas and some cards that I wanted to try out. Might be too many of certain ones, might be not enough of some others, but that's okay. We're going to test this out. We're going to have some fun with it, and hopefully get some wins. If we don't, you know, it's okay. We're just here to test out and have some fun and learn the new set as we go. So some of the normal culprits that we expect in this Exile list. Obviously, Stonebinder's familiar, one of the premier 1-drops for this list, because as we are exiling things on our turn, we're getting 1/1 counters on this. So this is kind of similar to something like a Johnny's Pridemate in a life gain deck. It's going to hopefully bolster itself up as we continue on with the game and deal with the things that the opponent is doing so we can get further towards that win. Portable Hole is here as some removal. We've also got the full 4 of Borrowed Time. Both of these probably not needed as full 4s, but I wanted to give them a shot because, again, we're looking to exile things off of the field so we can get in for the attack and build up that familiar. So these, of course, are tried and true classics we've seen before. Additionally, we have seen things like Sungold Sentinel here. This is just a nice little card. Can get some cards out of the graveyard and then potentially even give hexproof to itself, depending on how things go later on in the game. We do have Fleeting Spirit as well. This is just a nice aggressive 2-drop. Now, obviously, we can bring this back. This is kind of an interesting card here, but we'll see if that actually works or not. Lion Sash, a brand new card that I am very excited to try, is a 1/1 for 2. You pay 1, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a permanent, you put a 1/1 counter on it. Now, this alone is just a nice ability, right? Like, you can exile stuff, throw a counter on it. It's very similar to Scavenging Ooze, but without that life gain strategy. But you can equip this with the reconfigure mechanic to any creature you want, and that creature gets +1/+1 for each 1/1 counter on the Lion Sash. Kind of an awesome card. We're actually going to hopefully see that one play out. That's really the card that wanted me to kind of build this deck. And so I'm really excited to see where that goes. Now, in that 3-drop slot, some other normal culprits. Skyclave Apparition, just very, very good. Elite Spellbinder, getting some cards out of hand. And Brutal Cathar, of course, to do some of the exiling onto the battlefield, as well as just be a nice threat on the other side. But another new card here that we're going to be testing out, the Restoration of this card. For 1, or on the first counter, search your library for basic playing cards, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Hopefully going to smooth out our land drops. We are just a little light on lands at like 22. We curve out at 3 though, so I don't think that's abnormal, but this is going to help us out with that. On 2, you can discard a card. When you do, return target permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That could be any number of these spells here, so that does have quite a big breadth within our deck, so hopefully we can get that to work. Excuse me. And then on the final one, you exile it, of course, and bring it back to the field as a 3/4 with Vigilance. Whenever it attacks or blocks, you create a 1/1 spirit token. Crucially, it exiles, which is important because, again, it works very well with the familiar. So sagas actually work very well, in my opinion, with this. We're going to see if that actually pans out the way we hope, but I really like the way this looks. Now, in the land slot, we do have 2 Field of Ruin, a cave, or 2 caves, excuse me, and then the new Seat of the Empire, which can deal 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. We'll see if that actually comes into play or not, but it is a nice ability to have. I think you just always play these legendary lands as like a 1-of in whatever color you're trying for. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. But guys, without further ado, let's jump right in. Let's see if we can get some wins. All right, guys, here we are for game number 1, and this is a pretty strong keep. We're a little heavy on the lands, but we've got the familiar into the portable hole, which is about as perfect as we can get, honestly. We do have to worry about what the opponent might be up to. If they've got a burn spell early, they could potentially get rid of this, but it looks like that will not be the case. So, first things first, let's just go ahead and attack in. Pretty easy. Nothing to do here on turn 2, of course, but that is okay. Turn 3, we've got quite a number of options, so I'm curious to see how this goes. They do have a swamp, which is interesting. Awesome. I'm going to do this, and I think we'll just go ahead and Brutal Cathar here. This could punish the opponent quite a bit, like long term, and again, we get that counter going, which is very important. Portable Hole was a very clean answer to that. However, on the mana side of things, I'd like to use up all the mana we can, and then next turn be able to do a little bit of both here. Interesting. Okay. Fair enough. So they do get their adversary back, but we do get to hit that with our own portable hole here. So let's go ahead and do that. Get that out of there. That puts the counter where we want it, which is fantastic. And then we'll go ahead and play the Restoration. I'm gonna go ahead and search up the Plains card. Just a little bit of deck thinning, of course, and that's very, very good for us. So let's get an attack in. Let's see what they do. Opponent, I think, probably reading this card quite a bit, which makes sense. Now, crucially, that second ability really not going to do too much here, most likely. But still, we'll see what happens. Looks like they are going to get their attack in. That's fine. We don't have anything in the graveyard yet for the Lion Sash, which is a little unfortunate, but that's okay. I wonder when you do. Okay. I don't think that works that way then. All right. So, how do we want to do this? Well, I think first things first, let's attack in. Let's see what they do. They may have a kill spell here. I think probably very likely. And yep. Cool. With that in mind, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's just play everything out here. Okay. Crucially, that flips this back, which is interesting because then they obviously get to target something here. Let's do this. We'll exile you. Just to get a counter on this, if nothing else, I think is important. And they will take this, that's fine. We should have. That was a bit of a mistake. We could have actually done something about that. That's okay though. We'll see how this goes. I'm interested. This restoration should be kind of interesting though. I'm kind of curious. Oh. All right. Well, let's play land. I think we just go for this. They probably have another kill spell if I had to guess. This actually doesn't work though, I guess, does it? It doesn't come in as a, comes in as the 3/3. Interesting. Okay. It's okay. We're learning. We're having some fun. All right. Curious as to what the opponent might have. We are pretty well burnt out of things at this point, which is a little unfortunate, but okay. Yeah. They are going to exile this, which is a little bit annoying. But they did pay the full cost, so we also don't get to draw a card. Let's attach this here. And let's go ahead and exile a card. Just hit this. Just to get some cards out of the graveyard. One thing I would always say is a good idea is just to exile cards out of the graveyard if you can. Given the fact that there are plenty of options for them to take some of the stuff out, that's really crucial. That's annoying. Yeah. That's really annoying. We do keep the Lion Sash. That's one nice thing about this, but very, very annoying for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Hopefully get a card out of hand here. Wow, we are super dead. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's that. Don't love it. I'm actually going to attack in here. If they want to trade for the Apparition, that's fine, but it looks like they won't. Yeah, I think we're pretty dead. Like, we're technically ahead on the damage race, but they've got plenty of stuff they can do here. Oh, we just got a subscriber. That was fantastic. Thank you to whoever that was. All right. So let's go ahead and exile some stuff. But yeah, I mean, guys, we're pretty dead here. There's really no doubt about it. We did get to draw a card off of that, which is helpful. Yeah. Don't feel super good about this. They can attack with this. It's a freebie attack for sure. No blocks. Yeah, dude, you got it. See, they get to transform this so often. That's such a problem. We should have waited on our own Brutal Cathar for sure. Like, definite mistake on our end, I think. All right, let's throw this down. We might be able to kind of get him here a little bit. I'm kind of curious to see how this goes. Probably not, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and throw that out. Seed of the Empire is kind of helpful, but the reality is they can just make things indestructible with the Glyph Weaver here. So it's like, we can't really do too much about that. Yeah. Yeah. Like, we can force them to do it, you know what I mean? Like, we definitely just do this and then pay the 1, but they just get to exile this and make it indestructible, and it doesn't matter, which is really annoying. Yeah. Yep. But we do save ourselves at least a couple points of damage here, which is something, I suppose. Yeah, I think just discard this. This only hits 2 or less, so it's not super useful at the moment. And then we just get it back. Yeah, this isn't helpful at all. I'm gonna go ahead and concede, guys. They definitely have us here. Let's try and move on to game number 2. All right, guys, let's try this again. This is a interesting hand. We don't need many lands with this deck, which is kind of a bonus, but we'll try. This is not a good keep, that's for sure. Let's see what we can do here. Don't love this, I'll be honest. But we do have the Familiar into the Portable Hole, and then any land grants us some other options here, so we'll see. I think the Lion Sash is not the best in this version of the list. I think the problem that we're facing is we exile almost too much, if that makes sense. And so there aren't that many things that we can actually hit from the graveyard because everything is in exile. All that to say, though, of course, it does a good job against like a sweeper's deck or something where they sweep, we play this next turn, exile a lot of stuff, and then we're actually in a pretty good commanding position. Our opponent looks like they are taking a minute here. We'll see what they're looking to do. Give it a shot. Maybe. Guys, I just want to remind you, at this point, we do have a giveaway going on right now for a draft booster box of Kamigawa, which is going to be really sick. That's going to be happening on February 23rd, so I encourage you to check that out. All you got to do is subscribe or, like, literally just follow us on a number of different platforms. All that information is on the video on our homepage, as well as on our website at itresolvesmtg.com. So please do check that out. Unfortunately for us, we didn't draw a land there, but fortunately for us, they started with a World Tree, so I'm kind of curious to see what they're doing here. All right, cool. We definitely just get to exile that, and we certainly will, I think, right off the bat here. No real reason not to. Let's go ahead and get that out of there. It's going to throw a counter on the Familiar, and then we get the attack in. The portable holes are only good against a certain number of things, obviously, and so I feel very compelled to play them quite early, just to get the value off of them and hopefully slow the opponent down. If they're not life gaining here, then hopefully we've got some options. Curious to know what they are doing between the World Tree in particular and the Prosperous Innkeeper. Just a curious combination of cards here. Would very much like to know what they're up to. Another land would be great because it does give us the Borrowed Time, which just exiles any permanent the opponent controls. So that could be very, very helpful. Again, our opponent looks like they are definitely thinking through their turns, which is a good thing, by the way. Certainly should do that, but going a little bit slow. That's okay. Maybe they can blow up our portable hole. Maybe they can do that. Okay, Abzan. Ah. Hollowed Haunting. All right, we got the enchantments deck, it looks like, guys. This is going to be interesting. All right, so first things first, let's attack. And let's do this. We did not get a land, which is unfortunate because I would have loved to have taken care of that Hollowed Haunting right off the bat here. But all that to say, we will be able to at some point, most likely. And when we do, we'll be able to power up our board a little here too. So we'll see. We will see. Discard a card, exile it, return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Very important thing to note there. Worth noting, they don't have second white here. But they do have the path. That's cool. This is all kind of fine. We just can exile this. Ooh, or this. That's potentially even better. Yeah. That's cool. Awesome. Yep. All right. Not again. All right, let's do this. Let's portable hole. Let's get this. It's gonna put a counter here, which is very useful, and I will go ahead and attack in here. Really no reason not to, I don't think. If they want to trade off a 2/2, great. If they don't, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. This is scary, so like at some point these are gonna get out of hand. I'd rather go ahead and trade off with them if we can. Sure, we'll let that happen. We also can exile this with the Lion Sash, which is very relevant as well at some point. We don't really have the lands to do it right now, but hopefully at some point we will. And there we go, that's actually very good. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and borrow time on the Hollowed Haunting. Let's hope they don't have anything to respond with here. Looks like they don't. That's gonna power these up, obviously. And we can get another attack in. Still a little worried about what they might have in hand, though. They've got 4 mana available, one of which is black, which is quite scary. Okay, I guess nothing. We could Elite Spellbinder at some point, but Vanishing Verse. Sure. So you get your Hollowed Haunting back. That makes sense. I kind of expected that they had some kind of removal there, and that one definitely is a good one. So there is the Catilda, an absolute powerhouse card, guys. Absolutely powerhouse card. Let's do this. Pro Vampires. Okay. So we're going to Spellbinder, get a card out of hand, hopefully, here, which does put a counter on these. It's just lands. Okay, never mind. Fair enough. You got me. That's kind of good and bad, to be honest. Just because that means they don't really have a play, unless they draw it off the top, of course. But this is definitely going to outpace us at some point here. Also don't like how slow they're playing for the sake of no reason now. Like, we know for a fact they don't have a play, so it's like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? Just a little frustrating. That's cool. All right, we're not going to attack, obviously. Yeah. I mean, not much we can do. We just kind of have to hope for the best here. They play that Pathway land. They do have a lair if they'd like it, but it looks like they're not going for it. So we take 4. And they game 4. I mean, it's a big hit. That's super helpful. All right, so we definitely just do this and hit Catilda, I suppose. Hope for the best here. Hopefully they bricked. Worth noting, they can activate the lair of the Hydra here, guys, so we do have to be a bit careful there. All right, cool. 2, 3, 4, 5. So they can do it for 5. So we're just gonna attack in the air for 3. And if they have a Vanishing Verse or whatever, that's fine. Oh, they're just going to activate this. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's annoying, but again, that's not the end of the world for us. This Hollowed Haunting doesn't seem at its best here. It seems good now because they've got 2, but like, they haven't actually had very many enchantments, weirdly. All right, so we can do this. We do get a pretty strong attack in here as well, which is kind of nice. Get you. Very helpful there. Let's go ahead and drop that Lion Sash, which will start exiling cards, and hopefully we can bolster up something at some point. That's the goal. We can do this, and if they want to double block, they can. Which is annoying, but it's not the end of the world again. Like, I'm kind of okay with it. We'll see though. They've got a green. Oh, they've got any color open at this point. Yeah, for sure. Play double block and kill the familiar. We definitely killed the cleric first, so we can get this one kind of dimmed down a little bit as well. All right. Prosperous Innkeeper, great card. A little late to the party here, but definitely a good card. All right. Yeah, you know, I think I will do that. Let's do this. Let's get you. Start building these counters back up. Exile this. It's going to put some counters around here, which is very good. Okay. Let's exile our own Elite Spellbinder. And let's exile the Fleeting Spirit, I think. Reconfigure it onto... 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm actually going to put it here. So the reason being, they can still activate Lair of the Hydra if they would like to block some stuff here. But I'm kind of in the game plan of spreading out the damage. I think that that's correct. Looks like they're not going to activate the Lair, so that's certainly a good sign. And now if they do kill Skyclave Apparition, well, they get a 3-drop, basically, or a 3/3. That's kind of it. That's like all they get. Cool. So this does exile, which does trigger these, which is part of why that's so good. Let's activate this. The trick is they still can kind of do a lot here, but I think it's okay. I think we just go for the attack. They can activate the Lair, but they still have to be taking quite a bit of damage here. So yeah, they get a 6/6. They can block 2 things, which will be these 2, and they'll take 6. All of that's fine. They get that, but then we still get the 4/4 Lion Sash back. And we've got another Lion Sash. Wow, I cannot talk. Available to us. So yeah, they get their stuff. That's all fine. And I think we just do this again. All right, we did it. I can't believe we finally got a win. That was a rough one. All right, let's try for one more game. We got a little bit of time. We got this. All right, guys, this is going to be our final game, and this is a very easy keep. Got quite a number of things we can do here, so we'll definitely go this route. Kind of curious to see how this actually plays out, because interesting hand. All right, we are against Mad Godzilla. I like that name. All right. Come on, opponent. Let's see what you've got. Guys, I just want to say also a huge thank you. Just as I've been putting this video together, I've been checking stats in between and that kind of stuff. You guys have been really watching the new videos, which is amazing. Certainly appreciate it. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys have just shown up and really done a number on our stats here, guys. It's kind of killer. All right, cool. I am going to get the Sentinel down, by the way, here, not the Lion Sash. They're going to kill it, it looks like, so that's okay, but I think it's definitely worth it. What we can do now is throw the Lion Sash out, exile a card from the graveyard, which will probably just... it might need to be the Thundering Rebuke. I know this doesn't put a counter on the Sash, but it does put a counter on the Familiar still, and it gets that Rebuke out of there. My assumption is this could be a Leer deck, and exiling the cards in their graveyard is probably pretty important. That's actually perfect, so we just get to hit this with a Skyclave Apparition. That out of there, get a counter. Let's go ahead and exile the Sentinel, which gives us a little bit more and push in for 5 damage. That's pretty good. Fully expect them to have like a burn down the house at some point. Looks like Reckoner Bankbuster. This is a sick card, by the way. And they can use it right away. Oh, they've got Thundering Rebuke. Okay, cool. Annoying, not the end of the world, you know? Let's do this. We'll exile this. Put the counter here. We will go ahead and do this to exile this. It's a counter there. And we got the win. Dude, that was... Okay, hear me out, because that's how this deck should function. Like, that's the goal of the deck. But anyway, let's talk about this real quick. Okay, so this was an interesting endeavor, in my opinion. First and foremost, I don't really like mono white decks right now. I'll just be honest. However, I do really like the exile mechanic, and there's a lot, I'm talking a lot, of support for it right now. I do think the double up spells for mono white has always been good, or at least in recent years has been quite good, and so I would expect that incorporating a little bit of that mechanic into this would still probably be the correct way to go, while still being able to exile things and probably capitalize on that also. So Lion Sash, a killer card. Oh my gosh, I love that card. I think that was a really good showing, especially in that last game, of what Lion Sash can do. It just continuously kind of bolsters itself up, gets stuff off the or out of the graveyard, so you don't really have to worry about it long term, which is I think been a problem in recent months in particular, especially with things like Leer decks going on, Reanimator lists, all that kind of stuff. So I love it. I think it's great. This deck didn't function as intended for a little while, I would suggest, and so what I would encourage everybody to do is take this as a starting point. Don't take this as the final list. See what kind of things you can do to tool it out, tech it out, get some like dim down on some of the things like Portable Hold potentially, and get more impactful spells in, or something that would really help out the deck. But all that to say, this was a blast. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, of course, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you are not already. It really would mean a lot. And guys, I really, again, appreciate all the support recently. It's been fantastic. I hope you guys are enjoying Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. We'll talk to you again very soon.